The tired Necrons are asleep. Don't wake them. In the dark times of the early 41st millennium, the Necrons return from the bowels of forgotten times. Lords and Pharaons walk pathosically before the lines of silent Cherupolic soldiers, in a long-forgotten language loudly promising them glorious battles. From the depths of the planets rise fearsome machines powered by electric arc engines, followed by mechanical spider-like robots. Under the careful guidance of the cryptex, formidable weapons come to life to destroy planets like the galaxy has not seen in millions of years. Line after line of skeleton-like warriors emerge from the tombs in a steady stream of cold steel. Billions of Necrons rise from their graves to reclaim what once belonged to them, and the entire galaxy shudders in horror at their return. The metallic footsteps of the conquerors are heard. Where the Necrons came from. The Necrons are a nightmare from another age. Their ancient empire existed millions of years before the Emperor forged a coherent imperium from the Hose War of human worlds. They were once mortal beings of flesh and blood called Necrontyr, but then an arrow hit them in the knee. Sorry, wrong universe. But they long ago replaced their mortal bodies with sturdy forms of living metal during the process of biotransference. But not all Necron bodies are created equal. The nobility have been reborn in mighty shells, elaborate and with complex engram schemes. The commoners, in turn, have been given crude bodies during the transformation, many not of their own volition, and their consciousness and reactions have been dulled. For 60 million years, the Necrons slept deep in the bowels of their tombs. And now the ancient dynasties are awakening, and those raiding parties that heralded their coming have grown into starfleets and vast armies of conquest. Each Necron tomb world is designed according to a complex template devised by the Necrontyr at the peak of their civilization. Following laws of physics and geometry unknown to other races, the cryptex created enormous crypts that could house their entire people for the duration of 1,000-year sleep. In countless interdimensional halls they placed millions of Necrons and equipped spacious armories with the most powerful weapons of war, although to an outside observer it would seem that all this simply cannot fit there. But the Necrons are the Necrons that know much more than people. And how to cram the unsupportable they guessed. Having completed this part of the work, the cryptkeepers installed temporal stabilizers to protect the tombs and everything inside from the ravages of time. In the event that a large settlement of a minor race got too close to a tomb world, a coded program was triggered to protect the buried Necrons, instructing them to react aggressively. However, whereas the actions of most sentient beings are driven by instinct combined with personal considerations, the decisions of the Necrons are subject to logic and skewed by idiosyncrasy. While their armies may retreat when defeated, this is not done out of fear, but based on an objective assessment of the current situation. Indeed, the retreat of Necron armies is often the first indication that enemies should expect the worst. Such retreats are usually temporary in nature and are intended to allow time for additional forces to awaken and find a place to deploy. In essence, the more the enemy fights the Necrons, the fiercer they respond. The Great Awakening. The Great Sleep. Slumbering in dusty stasis crypts scattered throughout the galaxy, the Necrons have begun to slowly awaken over the past few millennia, one tomb world after another. This process is far from sustainable, however, as the legions have been lying motionless and unconscious for 60 million years. The fact that at least some tomb worlds have survived at all can already be called a stunning victory for science, even if many of them were victims of failures in their systems, suffered from planetary disasters and the actions of other races, mostly unknowingly, although there were those who went about it deliberately. For long eons of sleep, the mechanisms of the tomb worlds worked tirelessly to maintain these enormous structures and protect them from invasions by inferior creatures. It is not known exactly when the first tomb started the revitalization protocols, and it is possible that some mistakenly did so before the appointed time. Now, more and more tomb worlds are awakening. Those who stand guard over the borders of the galaxy and beyond are realizing the magnitude of the phenomenon. Piecing together scattered reports of skulking Reaper machines rising from the sands of dead worlds across the galaxy, the Xenos researchers of the Sacred Ordos have uncovered a terrible truth. What at first looked like unconnected alien raids with no single purpose, in reality turned out to be the precursor to a catastrophe of galactic proportions. Due to long periods of inactivity, a tomb world is unable to quickly become fully operational. During sleep, each tomb is controlled by a main program that is responsible for maintaining basic functions and defense, mobilizing the resources it deems necessary in any given situation or threat. As the long-awaited moment of awakening approaches, the main program brings the various systems back to work in the most optimal order in its opinion and resurrects more and more Necrons from hibernation. Usually, in the initial stages, the lower-order Necrons are revived, warriors and immortals. These semi-intelligent automatons, following their protocols, activate first to prepare everything necessary for the return of the older members of the dynasty. As representatives of the various classes of the dynastic hierarchy awaken, each more intelligent and individual than the last, the whole process gradually begins to resemble the workings of an ancient civilization rather than some vast machine. At the appointed hour the Lord awakens, and with his final restoration the main program transfers control to its creators. From that moment on, the actions of the World Tomb are guided by a truly ancient mind, and what happens next depends entirely on its character and goals. Some lords are cunning and patient. They collect all available resources and only after such preparation send legions into the void of space to realize the destined Necronomy. Others are aggressive and impatient. They launch a series of attacks before those who reside in the region learn of the awakening of the Tomb World. While most attack nearby worlds occupied by sentient races without warning, some give them an ultimatum: serve the Necrons or die. The process of awakening carries great danger for the Tomb World. If many Necrons are revived at once, there will be a massive surge of energy that can be detected within a radius of many light years, inevitably leading to the intervention of curious mortals. Thus, if the tomb awakens and is found to be located near, or even beneath, the settlements of the lesser races, the strong energy surge will attract unnecessary attention, and then it will be destroyed before the warriors can react to the intrusion. Once control of the awakened tomb passes to the Overlord, the world should eventually take its place in the domain of the dynasty that created it. While quite a few dynasties have never awakened and due to various catastrophes will never be able to do so, many others are slowly reuniting their former territories. One planet after another, the empire that disappeared eons ago is reborn, and its long-sleeping rulers are steadily being restored. At the center of each of these resurrected kingdoms is the central world, the beautiful capital, where the pharaoh of an entire dynasty sits. After it come numerous lower worlds, tombs and other domains, though it is extremely rare for them to remain as vast as they were in their time of greatest glory. For 60 million years, the Necrons hid in their tomb worlds, filled with armies of sleeping soldiers and disabled war machines. Now the entire galaxy shudders in terror before these creatures, who awaken as if from a half-forgotten nightmare. From the vast citadel sacred tombs in the twilight of the 41st millennium emerge fated legions, whole seas of steel, covered with ripples from the crackling energy discharges of mysterious military equipment. Hordes of skulking infantrymen are accompanied by cohorts of metallic scarabs, clawed monsters, and ghostly assassins. All of them are focused on the same goal: the conquest of the cosmic expanse. Thank you for your attention.